How do we start this?
We never came up with
we didn't come
name
up with
for the show.
We haven't come up with the title yet. No, the title will be right here.
Howdy and welcome to our movie review show. I'm Robbie Bland,
I'm Isral.
and we watched Madam Web a few weeks ago.
We watched it on Valentine's Day, where
That's right.
yeah, my girlfriend didn't go on a date with me, so I got cucked and went to go see Madam Web,
With your single friend.
which is very fitting.
Oh God, I think I'm going crazy.
New York City's a whole new level of crazy these days.
It was a theater experience. I showed up late to the movie.
Oh, yeah.
I will be here for her.
I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. I didn't even know it was Madam Web's mom, but I later figured out Madam Web's mom was in the water surrounded by a bunch of guys dressed as native Spider-Men from what it looked like.
Well, if you saw the trailer,
He was in the Amazon with my mom when she was researching spiders right before she died.
you would have known that she was in the rainforest
He was in the Amazon
studying spiders
when she was researching spiders
when she died.
right before she died.
They cut out that line, thankfully.
Did they?
They did. It was not in the movie. They cut it
wasn't
out.
looking for it.
Yeah, no, they cut it out completely because they knew how bad that fucking line was.
He was in the rainforest. He was in
the Amazon with
She was in the She was in the Amazon studying spiders. Or
He was in the Amazon with my mom when she was researching spiders.
No, he was with her in the
he was with
rainforest.
her in the No, I think it was in the Amazon. We're off to a good start.
Let's try that again.
This movie has obviously garnered a lot of outrage or just a lot of talk. And I guess I could be over exaggerating with outrage. I feel like if you're mad at this movie, you have nothing better going on because it's not good. I don't think it's good, but there's nothing to be mad about in particular. Other than it's just very poignant and boring. A lot of people are calling this like the Room of comic book movies, and I think that's reserved for Punisher Warzone.
I'm calling this in. Put your hands behind your back.
Though I think what makes something The Room is you genuinely are trying to make a good movie. You think it's going to be a good movie. Your attempt is genuine. You don't know what the fuck you're doing at all. And you make a movie that is so bad, it's good.
And the director did know. I think she knew what she was doing. There's a lot of people who have also come to the defense of the cast and crew. Sony had their hands on this project and they didn't let them be creative, which maybe, but all the interviews I've looked at of the director.
What I thought was good about it is it's the recent past. I mean, it's a period drama, right? It's 20 years ago, so it is a period drama. Although it's hard to sort of explain that to everybody because like, no, it's period, right? The cars are different, everything was different, and there was no smartphones. And I think I found that quite liberating to not have to have a story where we, relied on smartphones. In fact, the only technology is what Ezekiel has, and he's ahead of everybody else. And that shows sort of that birth of surveillance capitalism in a way, what he was dealing with and, what he'd managed to get his hands on. And I thought it was really interesting.
Granted, she is trying to sell a movie like how you mentioned to me at one point. She seems very positive about it compared to the cast, which is kind of like, this is what it is. Dakota Johnson came out a few weeks ago and said she never wants to do a movie like this ever again.
She fired her agent.
Yeah, she fired her agent immediately when the trailer
a
popped
week
off.
into promotion.
Sydney Sweeney, I think, stated that she was like fine with the movie and she just got her paycheck and left, which I mean, good on her.
Her career is not in any danger at all.
Effect. I think that everyone who joined in on this just didn't care.
I think Dakota Johnson thought she was going to be in an MCU.
Well, she did because there's this interview which I'll put right here.
When I got the Madam Web role, I ran into Lizzie Olsen in the hotel lobby and spoke to her about it for a bit, and that was helpful. She said she had a great time and seemed very relaxed about it.
They just told her it's a Marvel movie.
So, I mean, I think, and this could be pure conspiracy, but Sony owns the Spider-Man properties, but they also got their Spider-Man properties into the MCU.
Yeah.
With Tom Holland. and they got Venom in the MCU on a technicality.
Yeah.
So Sony can claim that all of the Sonyverse movies are in the MCU.
Yeah.
And so when they're approaching these actors, they probably are selling with that.
They also always tease in these fucking trailers that Spider-Man might be in it.
Yeah.
The Kraven trailer, there's a mention of spiders, and then you see a bunch of arachnid spiders crawling around Kraven.
The entire Madam Web movie is blue balling you on if you're going to get to hear the name Peter Parker.
Yeah, well, there's that awesome birthday celebration with Peter Parker's mom.
Richard Jr. Richard wishes. Cassie, what's your guess?
Ben?
The name is...
Even when she gives birth to presumably Peter Parker, the chosen one of this world, we still don't get I'm holding baby Peter. We never get the baby name, which is really, really funny.
I could never understand why these movies are so afraid to mention Spider-Man. Because even in Venom, Let There Be Carnage, there's that after credit scene where J.K. Simmons does say Spider-Man, but then Venom says that guy in the TV. He doesn't say Spider-Man.
That guy. AKA Spider-Man. Until we've uncovered the guy. Web of lies.
He licks the TV. He licks Tom Holland's 21-year-old face. A lot of people are like, they should put Spider-Man in these movies. And I can understand and somewhat sympathize with that. I don't think the movie can be good or would be any better if Spider-Man was in any of these. They just have to be good. Like you look at the TASM movies, and those aren't great.
You're a fraud, Spider-Man!
Spider-Man's in every fucking frame.
This movie skirted around using Spider-Man by having, the three Spider-Girls to be, which I thought was an interesting choice because ultimately you can't make a Madam Web movie if there isn't an actual protagonist, hero, main character archetype that Madam Web is inevitably going to end up mentoring and playing support for, because that's Madam Web's character.
Yeah.
She's pulling on the threads of fate and getting Spider-Man tarot cards.
This is your card. No thanks.
I loved how she had to earn her blindness in this movie.
She earned the blindness and the wheelchair.
There's this stupid fucking superhero trope that's in so many of these goddamn properties where they have to earn their powers or earn their significant things. Spider-Man,
earn their name.
Spider-Man Homecoming, he has to earn being a solo Spider-Man who watches out for the neighborhood. Moon Knight has to earn not having powers at the end. She-Hulk, I don't remember. I didn't finish. I watched the first episode, and then I noped out of it, and then I was like, oh, Daredevil's in it. And then I waited 3 weeks to watch the Daredevil episode.
But you didn't watch the last episode with...
Oh, no, we did the last episode where Kevin Feige shows up as an artificial intelligent robot with no personality, making these cogs in the machine of Marvel movies.
Just like Madam Web.
Enough! Your voices are like drilling in the center of my skull, and I need to think.
She's speaking for the audience.
Again, it was interesting because you did need that for the story, because the story can't just be... Madam Web learns she can see the future and then becomes blind and paralyzed, and that's her story. Her story needs there to be like she's looking out for the future generation of heroes. She's a guiding hand. And so I thought it was interesting to bring in kind of some less notable Marvel Spider-Man properties with, Spider-Girl and...
You're really struggling on those names.
Well, I'm not a big Spider-Man like you are.
Yeah. Well, I don't remember any of their names. They're all just Spider-Woman to me.
I mean, pretty much with the Spider-Women characters, but not Spider-Woman. Anya Corazon is one of those characters I would never have expected to be seen used on the big screen. And I think the only reason it ended up being that way is because they wanted to make a Madam Web movie for some reason, and didn't want to put Spider-Man in it.
Yeah.
For some reason. I don't know. I thought whatever the acting is...
be like a Girl Scout girl. Be that. Just be that.
Mostly phoned in. The script could have been written by AI. As a whole is so-so. I thought it was fun. I thought it was a fun movie to watch.
I don't hate it as many people do. There are some things I minorly appreciate. For one, camera movement is really fun. The scene that I think one of the writers revealed that they wrote the whole movie around was that they wanted a scene with the Spider Girls to have Toxic in by Britney Spears or whoever. I was actually rewatching the bar scene where poorly dubbed Spider-Man shows up.
Where's my spider? They took my spider.
What? I know who that is. And kills all the girls. And that's like one of the better scenes in the movie where there's some really good sound design. The camera's like moving all weird. There's like a cool scene where he like jumps on top of the wall and then the camera like goes up with him.
Honestly, the movie's biggest strength is it had interesting camera work. You did miss the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
But
which I tried watching when I was combing through footage, but I was like, I don't care. I'm fine with leaving this a mystery.
I missed like a few seconds to a few minutes. We got to the movie theater and we're like, oh, it's Madam Web. This movie's going to be stupid. Do we really care about being on time? I got popcorn and a drink. And you got, what, did you get your pretzel?
I got my fucking pretzel.
You got your fucking pretzel. You were waiting for them to heat up your pretzels. I went in and then I heard a gunshot. The movie has definitely started now.
Starting off with a bang.
It did. It started off with a bang. And this pregnant woman is bleeding out on screen. And I'm like, oh shit. And the guy kept saying, my spider, give me my spider, my spider. And then suddenly the camera is like this borderline imitation Evil Dead bullshit, just moving around really fast. There's this thing just moving through the trees real fast, swinging around. What the fuck is that? And it looks like Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Because he's red and he's got this like
the lines on him.
Like vine web rope crap. I'm like, what the hell is that?
What the hell?
I was kind of hooked just from that because I'm like, this is going to be different. There are indigenous, aboriginal, whatever the word is, spider people.
Peruvian.
And they save her and they bring her into a cave. This is not what I expected at all from a Madam Web origin.
Yeah, and that's when I showed up. Where she's like, the guy's like, I will protect her for the rest of my life, or whatever she said, whatever the hell he said. There's a time skip, and we cut to 2003 New York, which unfortunately it wasn't 2001 New York.
Unfortunately,
yeah.
You wanted Madam Web to.
Yeah, if she got her powers in 2001, she could have stopped. I don't think I can say it on YouTube.
You know, it did do the time skip, and that's where the movie was what I expected it to be. Madam Web's driving her ambulance.
Like a fucking jackass.
She almost kills a little girl, and she's like, that little girl, I hate her.
She's such a hateful person. She hates everything. Dude, she's a paramedic and she hates people. How are you going to like save lives and be like, I hate people. I don't want to be around people. I don't want to socialize.
Her little boy wanted to say thank you.
You know what? Mr. Ben Parker here did all the work, so...
Take it. She saves this little girl's like family from a house fire, and then the little girl's like, here's a picture I want you to have. And
she crumbles it up and throws it in the trash.
It was those things that immediately kind of further enthralled me because I did not expect Madam Web to be dynamic in any way whatsoever. I know maybe that's a liberal use of the word, but it would have been easy to just have her be good from the start and just be upstanding and like have good morals.
Well, I wouldn't mind that if it actually meant something in the ending. Like she's still like she's smiling blind in her wheelchair, looking out the window, somehow looking out the window.
Well, she's
despite
not looking
being
out the
blind.
window. She's looking into the
she's
web.
feeling the sun. Okay, shut the fuck up.
Her web connects them all.
Yeah.
I was immediately like, okay, this is interesting because the character is already flawed and has these clear emotional struggles. They didn't have to do that at all. I mean, they could have just written a very generic character. Like, Morbius is not a character.
No.
Morbius as a character was just crippled scientist,
CGI vampire,
and just Jared Leto just doing whatever he felt like
You
doing.
remember the scene in Morbius where they copy the Dark Knight theme, where he's like, where he's floating up with the bats and you hear more, more.
I hate Morbius.
I've seen people say that Morbius is a better movie than this, and I disagree so much.
Very much disagree on the singular fact alone that Madam Web actually has a character arc that is somewhat interesting.
I was watching like reviews of people talking about Madam Web, and they were like, yeah, remember the scene from Morbius? And I was like, no, I don't remember the scene from Morbius.
Very forgettable.
It's just a blue boring movie.
The action isn't even dynamic. He just speed forces around, and then the people die in PG-13 violence.
Remember when the blood gets on the camera? I hate that thing where blood gets on the camera. There's only one good property that did blood on the camera right, and it was Breaking Bad. And that's because it's Breaking Bad.
The only good scene out of Morbius was have sex.
That scene tried to be funny, and it wasn't. I saw that on TikTok, and I was like, oh, this is kind of funny. And I saw it in theaters, and I was like, this is not funny. They're trying to do Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man.
The problem with that scene, and this isn't about Madam Web, but the problem with that scene is it just tonally doesn't fit in the movie at all. It just happens, and then it's over, and then you're back to the shitty movie. But so Madam Web is this like bitch. She is in this job where she's supposed to help people, but she's so jaded and cynical and detached from people that she kind of doesn't have empathy.
She should have been working for like insurance companies, the IRS, if she hated people so much, and then became a paramedic at the end. I don't know.
I don't remember why she became a paramedic.
I don't think they say. I think it's just...
I think they did say at some point in some offhanded line why she did it.
I guess if she is going to work with Ben Parker, Uncle Ben, she's going to have to... I guess they're going to have to work an interesting job together.
Ben clearly is a good guy, cares about people, and is trying to help his friend, who's clearly not that. Bringing her to parties, introducing her to people, being like, hey, you should take that little girl's drawing and not be a fucking bitch. And then Madam Web goes to her apartment and then feeds a stray cat and says... Us strays got to stick together.
I hate that.
The
Batman had a better strays joke.
You got a lot of cats.
I have a thing about strays.
Us strays need to stick together.
And then you're like, oh, okay. So this movie, it has some semi-intelligent ideas, but it has just no intelligent way of expressing them. No nuance really beyond the introduction of new. I don't even think I like the characters. More so I found them interesting and attempting to be dynamic in a movie where they didn't need to do that. Especially once you get to the girls and they're all just stereotypes. There's the shy one.
There's the preppy, blonde-haired one who has to be in class. There's the rebel one who skateboards and says fuck you to authority. Says fuck you to Madam Web as Madam Web almost ran her over.
And it introduces the girls, gives them enough of a archetype to play off of that you kind of already get who they are from the get-go. And then you can just follow the story. Madam Web is getting these visions, fails to save a colleague from a fatal car accident, despite knowing it was going to happen because she doesn't understand her power or their consequences yet. Origin. That's her Uncle Ben moment.
Yeah.
Her Uncle Ben moment isn't Uncle Ben dying. It's that random cop dying who she...
Yeah, which we hilariously laughed at in the theater. That scene is so funny. She's like, just walked. She's like, don't leave. And then just... And he's fucking dead.
I laughed so hard.
No, that was the funniest thing. What the fuck? Rip Bozo.
I think that moment is supposed to be funny.
No,
I don't think it's supposed to be dramatic. I don't think you're supposed to be like...
No,
I think it's supposed to be funny.
That's not supposed
it is hilarious.
No, it's not.
Like, watch that clip and tell me you don't find it funny.
There's no way they were like, if we're going to get the audience with this one.
I think that it's like dark humor.
No.
Like, it's like grim. It's like guy died, but it's really funny.
No, you're giving the movie too much credit here.
Well, again, I enjoyed the movie, and I you know, intent is one thing or another, but I did enjoy what we got. And I would take more movies like this that aren't taking themselves seriously.
Yeah.
Than more Sony movies that are taking themselves seriously and just failing to deliver.
I can understand that. Like, Sony is just mass producing early 2000s comic book movies with the Venom soon to be trilogy this year, which we'll definitely review. Morbius and this. You know, like they have Eminem playing at the credits of Venom, which I love that song.
Like, I love the first Venom movie a lot, but I also think like the first third of the movie, you can just You can just do without.
You just need to see Eddie Brock get broken up with, and then just fast forward, and then once you see him get hit by a car in the middle of the street, then it's like, okay, press play.
You didn't need the symbiote to travel 6 months.
6 months. That meme is so stupid. I just saw it on Twitter one day. 6 months. I hate that.
Once Venom and Eddie get together, shit's fire. It's a awesome movie. It's full of fun. Morbius is just the entire first act of the first Venom movie.
Yeah.
And Madam Web is more closely aligned to Let There Be Carnage in terms of just not giving a shit.
I didn't go into it expecting like, oh, this might be okay, or this is gonna ruin my fucking day. Like I didn't go into it hating it or wanting to love it, or like I just went into it because I got cucked by my girlfriend. I'm also a Spider-Man simp, so anything Sony puts out, Craven, Venom 3, like I'm seeing.
Craven.
I am. Craven is gonna be.
You're gonna be raving about Craven.
Yeah, raving about.
That's gonna be the name of. That's gonna be the title of the Craven review. Raving about Craven.
Yeah, I was mildly entertained seeing it, and I expected what I got, which was a not so great movie that I know wasn't gonna make me mad after seeing it. I think people who are like saying that this kind of movie is dangerous for filmmaking is wrong. Audiences from the jump online were like, nobody wants to see this.
People are just so dramatic.
Everyone voted with their wallet. I think this movie grossed like $2,000 or something. Sony is probably ending it with Venom 3, which is fine by me. They just should probably stick to their animated shit. Or maybe if they want to stick with their early 2000s weird shit, just make it fun.
That's all. That's all those movies have to be.
I feel like they kind of know that they are going for this early 2000s vibe. I don't think everyone at Sony is out of touch. Maybe I'm giving fucking millionaires too much credit.
I think like slasher Spider-Man is a cool villain.
Oh, it is a cool idea. That's where I was getting to is you have your Final Destination S Spider-Man movie where she can see the future, and then you see these awful deaths. Not that it needed to be like rated R.
Not even that, but also the villain is Spider-Man.
Poorly dubbed Spider. You know how we haven't even mentioned that Spider-Man at all.
Cassandra Webb, daughter of Constance Webb, deceased.
Did you say Webb?
Yeah. Do you know her?
It's not possible.
This fucking villain. There's nothing to mention of him. The weirdest thing about him,
my spider.
My spider. Did you say web?
They're going to kill me in the future.
And he screams,
I have to kill them now.
And then he screams no out of dub.
But the girls were never your future. I was.
What was that zoom? Which I don't know how you get no out of dub.
They're going to get powers. I need to kill them now.
I'm going to be murdered one day.
I'm gonna be murdered one day.
Oh, wow, that's a buzzkill.
I'm gonna be murdered one day. All the Sony villains, I think, are very forgettable. I remember
Carnage.
Carnage. Oh yeah, no. Woody Harrelson was cooking with Carnage. Perfect casting. When he hacks the computer with his fucking Venom tendrils, peak.
Which he can apparently do in the comics.
I believe it. I believe it. They just threw so much shit at the wall in those 90s comic books with Carnage and Venom. They were just
do anything.
Well, hacking back then was like used so much in movies. Like whenever something wrong was going with a computer in movies, they're like, we're being hacked.
It was an interesting idea for a villain. And I think even the angle of he's anxious about dying in the future isn't the worst, motivation.
No.
I think Ezekiel Sims needed like a character
but what
beyond
is
his motivation.
I guess like to that, like what is he, if they gave him something to where he was like, this is what I need to live for in the future. He has a daughter. I mean, he's an evil piece of shit, but he wants to see his daughter walk across the stage and graduate. I don't know.
It's just a one-dimensional evil, and I think you're in the right direction there. Where anything to ground him, would have helped and would have made the movie that much more engaging.
Not to give Morbius any credit, but at least Milo, the villain there, he was a cripple as a kid, and then he becomes a vampire and he's able to walk around and feel good. Like there's that.
Yeah. I mean that was the one thing Milo had going.
Riot had to wait 6 months.
I liked Riot just because he was an evil Elon Musk, and we need more of those in media. And
we needed those to a point of where it's not overdone, because then it'll get boring. And it's like
Glass Onion also was an evil Elon Musk.
Yeah, well, Ryan Johnson knows how to write, and wrote his evil Elon Musk pretty okay. But
Which I guess I shouldn't say evil Elon Musk because that's just saying the same
yeah,
thing in
yeah,
the sentence.
yeah.
Runs
I think
Twitter
I think
cozy with neo-Nazis.
he is.
Yeah. So
Oh
anyway.
yeah, speaking of Ghislaine Maxwell,
It would have been a more impressive movie if it allowed itself to be darker and Ezekiel Sims got to go full horror slasher. Madam Web's character arc of kind of being a piece of shit. She literally saves the girls and then abandons them at the first chance she gets.
bans them twice. She leaves them in the middle of upstate New York in the forest, takes them to a motel, and then she's like, I need to go to Peru, and then drives to Peru, and then leaves them with Uncle Ben of all people.
With a stolen taxi.
Yeah, with a stolen taxi that she, I guess, somehow was able to get to Peru.
I'll be back as soon as I can. Thank you, Ben.
No way you're gonna get Ben Pucker to watch over kids. He got shot. Busted ass car. She drove to Peru.
Nobody's seen this movie, so they'll just believe that that she drove to Peru. Nobody can fact check.
Well, there's actually like no evidence she didn't just.
Yeah, there's no scene where she gets her passport and flies to. Maybe there is. I don't think this is a room of the comic book movie genre. I don't think you can like have a movie night screening with your friends and like laugh at this. Really, there are a few funny
I think
moments.
You actually can put
No.
this movie on and have a good time.
I don't
That's
think
what
you-
we did in the movie theater.
Yeah, but
we were
like-
laughing the whole time.
laughing
You're talking
with-
about like getting friends together, which implies it's already a fun social environment. In a
Maybe.
theater, you're not supposed to talk.
Maybe.
We were bad audience etiquette in that movie.
What the fuck? What the fuck? Oh my god. What the fuck is that? Oh, the webbing. Oh my god.
Like that time in Morbius when you guys walked up to the front of the movie theater
and took a photo.
shook
Shook
hands with Flash.
Yeah.
That was bad.
That was
But these
awesome.
movies-
Before we snuck into this movie after seeing Sonic 2, there was somebody in the front of the theater who was like, I love Jared Leto. It was like it was like coughing like that through the whole movie of Morbius. But I guess you could maybe see it as a room of comic book movies, but I don't think to that extent.
Like, I don't think it's a room level. I think it's very much closer to like Daredevil.
Yeah, well, no, Daredevil's a lot funnier. You got Colin Farrell's Bullseye, like walking around, flicking a peanut off of an airplane seat and then putting it in the back of an old lady's fucking throat and then choking to death.
I think Daredevil might be funnier, but I think the movies are of the same vein. If they're ridiculous, comic book inspired superhero movies that try to take themselves seriously, also aren't taking themselves very seriously at the same time.
Yeah.
And then you end up with a movie that doesn't really have a consistent tone to it other than lighthearted comic book, who cares fun. And I think that is what Madam Web is. It was trying to be one of those movies and it succeeded.
People will definitely talk about this more throughout the years, not more. Or not in great vein, but more than the Marvels, probably. I think more people talked about Madam Web and they saw the Marvels, but nobody also saw Madam Web, so I think it evened out.
We didn't even watch the Marvels.
No.
We watched Madam Web.
Yeah.
Madam Web also did have a character arc, and it was literally discovering that her mother didn't abandon her, which is what she thought happened. That's why she's a piece of shit. That's why she doesn't care about anyone, is because she thought her mother abandoned her as a kid.
It's too bad I didn't care.
It's a genetic neuromuscular disorder.
But I don't have a neuromuscular disorder.
Life expectancy.
Remember when Spider-Man's spider was a radioactive spider and not something from the fucking forest of Peru?
But then you get, towards the end of the movie where she goes back to the forest and she discovers,
You do love me, Mom.
literally, that is the character arc. She was supposed to die. She had a fatal birth defect or condition or something. There's that scene where the mom is talking to the doctor and you're gonna have to get rid of this pregnancy, and the mom's like, no, I'm not gonna do that. And so the reason the mom ends up where she does in the first place is because she is willing to sacrifice her life for her kid. Because that was also why was she pregnant in the rainforest? A lot of the gotcha, stupid, this movie sucks because it's not smart. arguments are actually like resolved in the movie. Why was my mom pregnant in the rainforest? Because she was trying to find the specific cure that will save her daughter from dying. You know what I'm saying? Why does she have the multiform technique at the end? It's set up when she talks to the spider
Spider-Man.
So Spider-Man, if you accept this power and take it seriously and learn it, you can be in multiple places at once. That's what he says. It's not Peter Parker to Miles. It's just a leap of faith, Miles. It's not the same level of setup and payoff. And so I'm not saying the movie is phenomenal, give it an Oscar, it's the greatest thing ever. But I do think there are levels of competency to it that get passed up just because it's from the same people who made Morbius, which is entirely fair to write it off for that alone. Learning that her mother did love her, that she is able to resolve some of that, angst within herself, forgive her mother, and in a way then become an adoptive mother figure to the Spider-Girls. There is a character arc there. That is more of like a theme and a character arc than like even the Venom movies will give you. The Venom movies just are Eddie's mad at Venom because Venom is hungry.
You are a pariah!
Yeah, but that's awesome.
No, it's awesome. I'm a Venom enjoyer.
I think Tom Hardy's performance in that elevates the material that doesn't have that much depth, but there's some depth, as you think that there's some depth with Madam Web, but the performances and some of the presentation of that doesn't.
No, that's what I'm saying. Is it's not a good movie just because there's competence layers to it. Without Tom Hardy just chewing the scenery at every fucking moment he gets.
Eating a goddamn lobster.
I mean, that was the moment. That was the moment I realized I love these movies. Is when Tom Hardy jumps into a lobster tank and eats a lobster. And I like that he looks like shit in every scene he's in.
He's wearing that stupid, sweaty, gray sweatshirt.
Greasy as fuck. Looks like he just ran a fucking 100 miles.
He looks like
200 push-ups.
He looks like he lives on 6th Street in Austin, Texas. He looks like every white male on 6th Street. If you go to 6th Street, you'll know what I'm talking about. I don't party on 6th Street, but I have recorded there with my friend Caleb King.
Well, you got something to say about the Joker?
Yes. Joker, can you tell us what the River Congo?
The River Congo?
The River Congo is the river.
We made a lot of videos on 6th Street.
Yeah. Joker on 6th Street. I think we've only made 2.
It's just a shame you got mugged.
Yeah. Remember when Dalton twerked on a Black Santa in 6th Street?
No. Ho, no.
The phoned-in acting is really funny, and her just not giving a shit about the performance she's turning in made me like the movie more.
You have to be a Punisher Warzone for me to give you more credit.
Well, and I think Punisher Warzone is a Madam Web that works because it is more tonally consistent, knows what it's trying to get, and Ray Stevenson,
rest in peace,
turns in a quality performance because he's taking the character seriously.
Yeah,
he is trying to be Frank.
It's my favorite female-directed movie. I liked it more than Barbie. Suck on that, Greta Thunberg, or whatever her name is, Greta Gerwig.
A lot of movies exist on spectrums. Punisher Warzone is definitely on the further end of so bad it's good, competent, fun, stupid superhero movie. And then you have Morbius at the other far end where it's like just doo-doo caca.
Yeah.
Why did you give Jared Leto a job? I'd say Madam Web is more in the middle there. And then I'd say, in the further up the spectrum, approaching Punisher Warzone, you have the Venom movies and you have the original Daredevil 2003. Had a fun theater experience. I do think the movie is funny at points. The Uncle Ben actor, Adam Scott,
probably. I don't know.
I think he was fun. I liked seeing young Uncle Ben before he turns gray and
gets shot in the fucking face. I love that little comment she makes towards him. You've never been shot at in Queens before in the beginning of the movie?
Never thought I'd be this happy to be back in Queens.
Wait, you've never been shot at in Queens?
They loved doing that. I don't even think that was I know that reference. I think that was...
No, I didn't read that.
I think that was funny because it's ironic.
If the movie had given me A little better presentation of Madam Web's character arc. What we are shown near the ending of the Madam Web girls being Spider-Man-ish and fighting crime while also learning that they have a purpose too, and beneath that crime fighting, instead of just showing us flashing. Not that I need to have superhero costumes in my superhero movie, but
they're ideal.
Like, to make it great, but I would have been more, I don't want to say forgiving, but I would have been more, I guess, on your side. For me, it's a movie that exists. When I die, I probably will see it flashing before my life. Maybe, hopefully not all of it. I hope to see the Raimi trilogy.
The movie would have 100% benefited from utilizing the trio of girls more. We don't even know how they get powers.
Nope.
I guess they just get bit by spiders at some point.
Yeah.
Maybe they get bit by Ezekiel's spider.
Where's my spider?
Where is my spider?
Where's my spider?
Where's my spider?
I think some of the chase sequences are pretty good. When they're running from slasher Spider-Man, it's not scary, but it's fun to watch. Like, how are they going to get out of this one?
When he's hopping around in New York near the end, like kind of like smashing into buildings and like swinging around, it looked all right.
He's like chasing them in the subway and he's like picking off the cops.
There was barely any weight to his punches when I was rewatching it. It was kind of just like, ugh.
It was not super well done, but it was like, oh, I see the potential here.
Yeah.
I see what you can do with a slasher Spider-Man. So yeah, I think Madam Web is fine. I would say I'm a little disappointed we're probably never going to see any of these characters again, because there was room for them to grow and for them to get a better shot at being in a good movie.
You're not excited for Secret Wars? What about Kang Dynasty? Oh, sorry, they're not calling it Kang Dynasty anymore. They're calling it Avengers 5 because of their Kang actor not being too good towards women.
The moral of the story is be kind to women.
Yep. Be kind to women. Go see Madam Web and watch Punisher Warzone. That's made by a female.
You're going to like Madam Web?
While my character in the movie may be able to see the future, I also can. And I know what the future brings. I know that when you see Madam Web, you're going to love it.
The goon marketing of this goddamn movie.
You're going to see it again?
In fact, I think you're going to see it twice.
Oh, okay. I'm cutting this
back
out.
to the theater. You're going to watch it twice?
All right.
Hey, that sold me.